fighting come to an end. This one belongs to the Blues.
Your 2024 DHL Super Rugby Pacific champions, the Blues.
Super Rugby Pacific 2025. Let's have a look at the squads. Let's have a look at the key transfers into each team, especially with one of the teams from last year who are no more, the Melbourne Rebels. So a lot of their players have moved around, have gone to other clubs. I'll put a link below as well for every single transfer. There's a website that has shown every transfer, where they've gone and where they've come from, down below in the description. But let's get into this. And if you are into the Super Rugby, if you do love watching rugby down south in the Southern Hemisphere, hit that like button. Also, hit the subscribe button. I mean, it means a lot. All it is a click of the thumb or a click of the mouse, and it supports the channel more than you'd know. Especially, it gives us kind of ammunition so we can create more content and get out there to the games and actually do on the ground kind of reporting at the rugby games and see what people are thinking. Now let's get into this one here. We're gonna go with the minor premiership champions from last year, the Wellington, the Hurricanes, coming in with their key gains here at the top, as you'll see, with Tom Allen, Cade Banks, Lucas Cashmore, TJ Clark, Uriatara Inari, Fehi Fenianangoto, Zach Gallagher, who I think is a great addition. Zach Gallagher, watch him. Riley Hohepa, Aresi Poliko, and Will Tucker coming into the team. So a lot of key gains here for the Hurricanes. And like I said, they were the minor premiers. So they were at the top of the table before the finals last year. But unfortunately, they tripped up. And look, in the Super Rugby Pacific, I do support the Hurricanes. Even when I was a little kid, I used to support them. Even when I lived in South Africa. But let's have a look at the squad here. So obviously, great squad. You can pause it here if you want to look through every single player. But I'll just name a few kind of players who I think are going to stand out this year. With Asafo Almoa, obviously All Blacks second hooker. Absolute great player. I also do think, like I said before, with Zach Gallagher coming in, I think he's going to be a great player for them as well. You obviously got Peter Umaga Jensen, Peter Lakai, who also plays for the All Blacks, who's been brilliant. You got Tyrell Lomax, Ruben Love, who also got a debut for the All Blacks and did really well at that too. Billy Proctor as well. Brad Shields, man, I used to rate him so much. He's just been finding it hard to stay obviously healthy. So hopefully this year he can do that. And then Pasilio Tosi as well in the team. So a lot of good players. I think with Cam Roygard in there too, how could I even forget about him? Who I think is the best number 9 in the whole New Zealand. Maybe even the best number 9 in the Southern Hemisphere at the moment. He's definitely making a case for it the more and more he keeps playing for the All Blacks. Now let's get into squad number 2. It is the Australian Shield winner last year, the ACT Brumbies, who won 12 games and only lost 2 games, same as the Blues, same as the Hurricanes as well. With players coming in, Tavita Alatini, David Failua, Lachlan Hooper, Caden Pritchard, Tuiana Tuialima, Shane Wilcox coming into the team. So a couple of good signings there. They have lost a few players as well, which we'll run through when it gets to those teams. But obviously standout players here. Alan Alalotoa on the picture here as well. Wallabies player, very experienced, and he brings aggression as well. You got Nick Frost, who's been great in the second row for the Wallabies. Tom Hooper, Len Ikitau, who's had a breakout Autumn Nation Series. You got Noah Lolesio, who's great with the boot. James Slipper, yet again. Alan Alalotoa, James Slipper. The experience between those two is more than some teams have in total. And you got Tom Wright there at the back as well. And then to finish off, Rob Valentini, who I think is, the in-form number 6 at the moment. Brilliant player. Maybe he's going to be playing 8, obviously. But just a brilliant bruiser. And his game has just gotten better and better every year. So I'll kind of predict while we're going. I think with the Hurricanes, I think a top 3 finish for them. Anything lower than that will be a disappointment. I can see them again finishing at the top of the table, but The only thing about the Hurricanes, if they've struggled to win those finals games, right? They can get there, but they just struggle. I remember watching those games back in the day where it was the Hurricanes against the Crusaders. I don't know if you remember it. Let me know below. But that final, I think it was like 03 or something like that, where it was the fog final, right? The fog cup where you couldn't even see the ball. It was that foggy down there in Christchurch. Let me know if you remember it, because I remember trying to watch it. I was still a young boy in South Africa watching it. I think I was only 8 or 9 years old, and watching it live at like 4 in the morning, whatever it was, and you couldn't even see the damn ball. It was crazy. With legends like Soyalo, and others as well. Manonu just kind of coming into it. But let's get into the Brumbies prediction here. I think for them, it's going to be tough this year because obviously the Waratahs are stacked. So I can see a top 6 finish for the Brumbies, and I kind of see them maybe second in the Australian competition. Only just. Now we've got the Crusaders, who, I mean, went from winning 7 championships in a row to being a bottom 3 team, which was crazy. Obviously losing the coaches, should I rather say, and also a lot of players as well. Richie Mwanga, all that type of stuff. But with the key gains here for them, James O'Connor coming over from Australia, Carl Preston, Xavier Saifuloi, and Aki Tui Vai Lala. Now we got here looking at the team. Obviously players that stand out straight away. Scott Barrett, captain for the All Blacks. Ethan Blackadder, if he can stay healthy, he is a beast. Tom Christie, David Havili, another All Black. Will Jordan, the try-scoring freaking machine. You got Fletcher Newell, another All Black, who really wants to make his claim this year. Sevu Reece and Cody Taylor as a hooker, brilliant. I think he's the best hooker in the game at the moment. And then you got Tamaiti Williams to finish it off, who is, one of the world's best up-and-coming props, for sure. He's only young and, 6'5", 140 kilos. Absolute beast. Crusaders, I can see a much better year this year. Obviously, I'm thinking they'll get into the top 8, but only just, in my opinion. I think if they can stay healthy, they'll be, contending for the championship. But if they get a few injuries, I just don't see they have the depth at certain positions to kind of keep up with it. So, be interesting to see. So top 8 finish, I think they'll be back in the finals. They got Waratahs, the key gains for them, Ali Aho, James Hendren, Andrew Callaway from the Wallabies, Joseph Suali'i from the Wallabies, and Taniela Tupou from the Wallabies again. So I think Taniela Tupou could be one of the signings of the year if he can get fit, right? Same with Andrew Callaway. I think if he can stay healthy, he's going to be up there again. So a couple of key players here, I think. Angus Bell, obviously, I think he's the best number 1 in the whole Australia. Brilliant ball runner. Lungy Gleeson, I think he is signing with a European team, so we'll see what's going on with that situation. Max Jorgensen scoring that game winner for the Wallabies against England in the 83rd minute. I think he's going to have a breakout year. He's still young. He's fast. He's great. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Andrew Callaway coming in, bringing experience. Rob Leota, that's another player they didn't actually put into key games, which is weird because he's a Wallaby, right? He played for the Wallabies, unfortunately a lot of injuries. He's come over from the Melbourne Rebels. You got David Parecki, also another Wallaby as well. And then you got Joseph Suali'i, who is that good that he played for the Wallabies before playing for the Tars. So for the Waratahs, I'm seeing them a top 4 finish. I think they'll win the Australian competition. They've always been the most stacked team in Australia and they always seem to choke. So let's see with McKellar as a new coach. He is actually an old boy at my club I used to play for in Townsville. So we'll see if he'll be able to turn this team around, and I think he will. He's a great, great coach. Now for the Chiefs, you got Jerome Brown, Leroy Carter, Brody McAllister, and Fita Sarr coming into the team. I think obviously key players for them. Anton Leonard-Brown, obviously All Black. Damien McKenzie, he's always tears up in the Super 14, Super Rugby, should I rather say. Got the top 14 in the old Super Rugby, the Super 14 mixed up then. You got obviously Cortez Ratama as well, making his All Blacks debut, and he's a great player in at number 9. Wallace Satiti, unfortunately, probably won't play this year with injury, so it's going to be a big loss. Sean Stevenson from Harbour, You know, my NPC team. So hopefully he tears it up. He's a brilliant finisher. And Tupo Va'ai, who I think is going to be brilliant. He's played so good for the All Blacks. His line-out skills are second to none, and he's really going to tear it up. So for Chiefs, I can see as well a top 8 finish if they can stay healthy. I can see them yet again challenging for the championship again. So a top 8 finish for sure. Maybe like a 5th or 7th, one of the two. Then we got the Queensland Reds. You know, Josh Canham coming in, Filippo Daugunu, Trevor King, Will McCulloch, and Lachlan Sakaya Loto, who I think is a great signing from the Wallabies. I think he's going to bring a lot of aggression. His lineouts have been brilliant for the Wallabies, so I think a great signing for them. Obviously, key players here, you obviously got Filippo Daugunu, who I think is going to have a breakout year. Matt Faisler, obviously a Wallaby as well. Mason Gordon, definitely watch out for him for sure if you want to keep your eyes on someone exciting. Tom Linner, I mean, the son of the highest point scorer in Australian history, Tom Linner, Michael Linner's son. I think he's going to have a breakout year at number 10 if he gets to start. You got Tate McDermott, who's just a live wire, and a player who I think is one of the best sevens, a top 5-7 in the world at the moment. Tate McDermott, he's been killing it. You know, you watch him in the Wallabies jersey, you watch him in the Reds jersey, he's 100% every single play. He scores tries, he wins turnovers, he's bulked up, so his tackling is much better. Really a player to watch out for if you don't watch a lot of Super Rugby. You got Fraser McWright, Josh Nasser, I mean, he's got a ton of experience. Hunter Paisami, another brilliant Wallaby. I think if he stayed healthy in his career, he'd be one of the best 12s in Australia for sure. You got Sakaya Loto. And then to finish it off, you got Seru Uru, who's been brilliant, who also got a Wallabies shout as well. And you got Harry Wilson to finish it off as well. Obviously, Wallabies captain, number 8, right? Brilliant team to have. I think they can challenge as well. I'm thinking they're a top 8 team as well this year. I think they'll just slip up in a couple games. But that's the thing. When they play at home, they're very hard to beat. So I can see them winning the Australian comp. I think it's a 3-headed monster this year for Australia. You got Reds, Waratahs, and Brumbies. I think any of them can win. Where usually we go, Brumbies will win. But this year, I think it's much tighter. Now we got the Moana Pacifica. You got Solomone Alaimalo. You got Pone Faumusili, Los Filippo, Jackson Garda, Bachop, Patrick Pellegrini, Adi Savia, Tito Tuipulotu coming into the team. Obviously, Adi Savia, the really big signing there. I think with William Havili there as well. Couple great players. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they all adjust to being into the team again together. Julian Savia, Adi Savia, brilliant, right? Brilliant. Semisi Paya, definitely keep an eye on him. I think they'll upset a couple teams this year. They've been at the bottom of the table, right? But I think this year they might be able to challenge a few with these key signings. I can see them probably, unfortunately, I can see them probably finishing bottom 2, in my opinion. It's going to be very hard for them to do much better than that, unless there's, some teams get injuries, all that type of stuff. They might get the rub of the green, but it's going to be very hard for them, I think, with the squad they have. But hopefully I'm proven wrong, right? Then you got the Fiji Drua with players coming in, Inya, Tabuavu, Vuata Karolevu, Punipate Loganamisi. Yeah, I think a few players to look at. Caleb Muntz, Kemu Valetini, Samuela Tawake, There's way more there too. I think they're going to be great. I think this year they've made a couple of good signings. I think this could be the year that they challenge for the top 8 spot. I'll be very happy if they finish top 8. But I'm seeing maybe them finishing around that 8th or 9th spot this year, especially with more games at home. They're very hard to beat in Fiji. So I can see them upsetting a couple teams with the quality of a squad they have now. Highlanders. Te Kamata Howden coming in. Sosefa Kautai, Michael Manson, Louis Nayata, Caleb Tangitau, Suwane Vikena, and Josh Fahanga coming into the team. Obviously, key players here. Josh Bartlett, Caleb Tangitau, Jack Taylor, And obviously finishing off with Ethan de Groot. It's going to be a tough year for the Highlanders, man. I think they'll finish last again in the New Zealand comp. They just don't have the big signings that the other teams do, right? I mean, obviously being the South team, it's going to be tough. I see them as a bottom 3 team this year, unfortunately. I don't see them doing too much this competition. I don't think they've made the right signings. They've lost a few players as well, so it's going to be tough for the Highlanders. I think bottom 3 finish, unfortunately. Even though I'd love to see them win. I always go for the underdog. And you got Western Force, the last 2 teams now coming in. You got Nick Champion, De Crispini, Nick Dolly, Violini, Ikwasi, Mac Reilly, Harry Johnson-Holmes, Brandon Painga, Almosa, Dylan Peach, Darcy Swain, and Matt Proctor coming in. So a few good signings there. I think obviously players to look out for. Ben Donaldson, who I think is the best number 10 in Australia at the moment. I think he's just more all-rounder player. His goal kicking has become better. His attacking is second to none. So definitely keep an eye out for him if you do watch a couple of games. Brandon Paenga-Mosa, obviously coming in a hooker, coming back from Montpellier. Wallabies player, so great to see him back. David Palu, Dylan Peach, another Wallaby as well. Harry Potter made his debut for the Wallabies. Matt Proctor, couple really good signing. Darcy Swain coming into the team, bringing aggression at second row. I think he's going to be brilliant. And Carlo Tizzano also playing in the Wallabies. Nick White, Jeremy Williams, who's been brilliant. So I think they got a pretty good squad, to be honest. I think they can upset a few teams. Do I think they're going to probably win the Australian Championship? Probably not. I think they'll probably finish last, maybe second last if they win a couple of good games, or, some teams struggle with injury. But I can see them maybe sneaking into the top 8. I think if they get a few lucky results, if they beat the Highlanders, beat Moana Pacifica, beat, the Fiji Drua, I think they might sneak into the top 8. Maybe get a sneaky win over the Crusaders, something like that. But it's going to be tough because obviously a lot of new players in the team. Got the Blues, defending champions. Absolutely winning that final by a lot of points. You got the key gains, Ben Ake, Cameron Christie, Che Clark, James Mullen, Rion Paul, Peyton, Spencer, and Javi Taile. Obviously, they didn't mention Bowden Barrett in there as well. But Bowden Barrett as well. Right, key player right there. Straight away you can see Bowden Barrett. Finley Christie, Caleb Clark, Sam Derry, Taufa Funaki, Joshua Fusitua, Rico Ioane, Dalton Papali'i, if he stays healthy, he's going to be brilliant. Harry Plummer, Riccatelli, Hoskins Satutu as well, he's been brilliant. Mark Talia, Patrick Tuipulotu, Old Capitano, and Ofa Tuangafasi. So it's going to be hard to not see them in the top 3, right? It's very hard to see them in the top 3. Blues and Hurricanes, I can't see probably not making the top 3 unless somehow the Crusaders and the Brumbies can pick off a couple of big wins against them. But I can see it 1 and 2 again, the Blues and the Hurricanes coming into it. I think their teams are just solid. They got a lot of depth, and great signings as well, where some of the other teams just haven't made those signings. So you can see here in round 1 coming up this weekend, you got the Crusaders versus the Hurricanes on Friday night. I can see the Hurricanes just pipping that one out. I think maybe the Hurricanes by about 7. You got the Waratahs versus the Highlanders. Down in Sydney, I think the Waratahs will win that quite comfortably. Drua versus Brumbies over in Fiji. It's going to tighten it up. I think Brumbies just edge it out by 3. You got the Blues versus Chiefs. I think the Blues win that quite comfortably. And then you got the Force versus the Moana. And I think the Force just pip it out. Maybe by about 2 points. I think they just win it in front of the home crowd. They play so much better over there. But let me know what you think. I mean, if you want to keep up with Super Rugby, I'll do a week-to-week kind of recap on the results and also predictions. So let me know below in the comments. We'll go through them every week. If you want to follow, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you did enjoy the content. And I'll be able to see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.